The conference is now starting. All attendees can now hear you.
I'm with Carlson Software, and today I'll be showing LotNet, and I'll be showing it two different ways. I'll be showing it with using the RoadNet program inside of LotNet to be able to automatically design my lots out. And then I'll come back and do it another way where I'll put a pond in and design my lots going around the pond. So let's go ahead and get started here. If you notice, I've already got my boundaries set up going around my lot. That's just a polyline. And then I've got my center line of my roadways that I've just entered in. And I've got a cul-de-sac down at the end of this. So the first thing I need to do, and I like using the actual toolbar here. Let me pick on this so you can see it. It's the Network Toolbar, because we've got things right in order for you. So the first thing you have to do is pick on the first icon, which is your lot network settings. I'll pick on that. It makes a LTN file, which is a LotNet file, and it says new, so I'll just pick open. And then what I'll do inside of here, if we can do the label lines and arcs, and we've got the default settings in here, so if I pick Edit, on my lines, I can set those up the way I want to see them. On my arcs, I've got those set up so they always go to a curve table. Or if I wanted to actually label them on the line, I could do that also. And you can set up what order you want things to come in as. So there's settings inside of that. That's in your label lines. Label areas, if I go inside of it, I can label my areas. I've got square feet first, acreage second, and I've got my lot description set up. And in my prefix, I have it set up to be LOT. At the bottom, I've got my area text, my style, my text size set up, and I can also send that out to a table if I want to do that. So let me just hit OK there. And my next thing is my draw setbacks. So I'll go ahead and pick on my settings. And inside of here, I've got my front setback, my side setback, and my back setback in here. And I have it what layer I want to put it on. So I can pick and choose what layer that I want to put that on. So I'll go ahead and I'll pick OK. And I've got my settings set up the way that I want these. And a starting lot name will be Lot 1. And my lot area tolerance is 0.004. So I'll go ahead and pick OK. And my next icon is B for boundary. So I need to set my boundary. So I pick on it, and I select my outside white boundary there. After picking it, I hit the Enter button, and that is set. Down at the bottom in the command prompt, it says Set One Boundary Polyline. Done. All right, my next step is to go right over to Road Network. I pick on the Road Network icon. And when I pick on that, I need to set up an RDN file. That's just the extension is RDN for Road Network. And on this, I'm just going to call this lots. And I get the dialog box on the left side that I can do all my lot information right over here on the left side. The first thing I need to do is go into Settings. And inside of here, I've got my side intersections, radiuses. I'll set those at 25 feet. My process options, so if I move or update anything, it will prompt me. We also have it set up for automatic, so it will, as soon as I make a change, it'll automatically update all the lots, or I can turn that off. The one thing about Carlson Software is we give you options on whether not updating, prompt you when it's going to update, or automatically do an update for you. So I'll have it prompt me. Create lots, I've got that checked on, so I'll go to Settings. And inside of here, I'm going to set up my lots to be 15,000 square feet. My minimum frontage is set to 100. My frontage setback, if I turn on use setback for minimum frontage, then what it's going to do is from 10 feet from the right-of-way, it's going to set the minimum frontage to be 100 feet. That's good around cul-de-sacs or big curves in that area. So that's what that's good for. My minimum side distance, I've got that set to 50 feet. A minimum back distance, I'm going to set that at 0, but if you have a certain county or city that require a back distance to be a minimum of a certain distance, you can input that in. Well, I also have the maximum right-of-way back offset set at 300 feet, so I know my area that I'm going to be working with. And my remainder, I can add to last lot the remainder left over after I do all my 15,000 square feet, or I can tell it to apply equally to all lots. And I can tell it also to create separate in lots, create the back lot edge. So I have choices in here. But I'm going to use the one that is set up for add to last lot. And also I have my lot layer that I can use, which is lot_edge, or you can set any layer that you would like to set up on that. Now, back up at the top real quick, you can see I've got it set up for 15,000 square feet. Underneath there, I have acreage also. So if I want to set it to acreage, I could do that. All right, let me pick OK. And let me pick OK here. And what I need to do now is I need to add in my center line of my roadways in. So what I'm going to do first is go right over to road name and pick add. And I'm going to pick the screen pick Polyline, and I'll pick it right down here. We'll call this one Road 1. And it asked me to assign a centerline file to the Polyline. I'll go ahead and assign a centerline file. And like I said, I'm going to call this RD1. Just keep it simple, Road 1. I'll hit save. And now it's got the centerline for Road 1 in there, but my right-of-way offsets, I need to input those. So I'm going to pick here. Set up the new, and I'm going to call it 20 because I'm going to do a 20-foot offset. So when I go to edit, I can enter in here what layer I want that drawn on. The offset will be 20 feet. Now what else is nice about this is I can add additional offsets. So if I want to add in, let's say, sidewalk to the left, back a curb, edge of pavement, face a curb, I'll add all that information in right in here, and it will draw it out for me. If you put something in and you need to remove it, you can just hit the remove button. So I've already hit the add button to save, so I'm just going to do a right-of-way for this. Pick exit. So I've got both of those set up there. Now we have an optional input for a template point center line if I was working with a template. I'm not going to be working for a template on this, so I'll just hit OK. And it adds RD1 to the road name here. Now, I've got two more roadways to add, so I'll go ahead and pick add again. Come over here to screen pick Polyline. I'll pick my second roadway. And I'll go ahead and tell it to assign centerline file to Polyline, which will be RD2, road number 2. And for my right-of-way offset, I'll use the same 20 feet that I used on road 1. But now what you notice is that inside of here, it found the intersection between Road 1 and Road 2 where they meet. Okay? So let me go ahead and add in my third roadway. So I'll just screen pick my Polyline here. I'll assign it a centerline name, which will be RD3. And I'll use the same offset of 20 feet on that one. Now on that one, if you notice, it found Road 1 and Road 3 for the intersection, and Road 2 and Road 3 for that intersection. So I've got my intersections all set up in here, and if I pick edit, you can see in here, as far as my front right is set to 25 feet, my back right is set for 25 feet. So if I wanted to change my radiuses going to either side, maybe 30 feet on this side and 20 on this side, I could do that. So that's what this allows you to do. Now for my cul-de-sac, I need to add a cul-de-sac to Road 1. So I pick on Add under cul-de-sac, pick on RD1, and inside of here I'm going to go to the end of the roadway, which it puts the stationing in for me. I'm going to do a 42-foot cul-de-sac with a fillet radius of 20. But now I can also do an offset, a full left, full right. I can do a teardrop mode also on my cul-de-sac. So let me just pick OK. Now we have our information in here, all inside of the road network file. So what I need to do now is hit process, and when I hit process, it's going to start figuring out the information I gave it for my lot. Now, what I can do, if I don't like how a lot turns out, which I can see a couple right now that I don't like, I can come back and modify those lots. Now, right now it's asking for a starting point for my line table, so I'll pick a point. It's doing my line table. Now I'll pick my curve table, and it'll annotate all that information for you. So over here, I've got my line tables in here. So I've got that information set up. I've also got my curve table information. And you can set these up any way you want to as far as what's first, like radius or arc length or chord length, any of that information. And then also inside of Carlson, under settings, Carlson configuration, general settings, I've got it set up to link line work link labels with line work. So if anything modifies over here, any of the information gets modified, then these will automatically update for me. And you can turn that off in that checkbox under settings if you don't want to use that. Well, let's go in here and fix some of these lots that I don't like. But maybe before we do that, a lot of people run into this. I hear clients tell me this all the time, that let's say the radius of that center line changes. So let me go to Road 1, pick Edit. Let's pick on the center line to edit. I need to set up a coordinate file here, so I'll just go ahead and set up a quick coordinate file. Now, on my curve here, I picked on my curve, which is highlighted in pink here, and magenta, so I can just go to Edit. I can tell it to hold the PI points. The radius is set to 150. Well, let's say I set that to 250, and then I hit OK, and now my curve is changed here. So I can save it and exit. And when I do that, look at it graphically on the screen. You can see how the roadway has been changed. All I need to do is hit reprocess. Something's going on with my right-of-way there. So it's going to do some reprocess here. You know what? It looks like I did something wrong there, didn't I? It looks like the radius I put in is too great for that. So let me go back in and just edit that. And we'll just change that back. There we go. Now let's do a save and exit. Pick OK. And let's go ahead and hit the reprocess here. Whoa, hang on there. Did I modify the wrong street here? I sure did. Well, if you guys ever make this mistake, and it looks like I've made it here, you can always use the good old AutoCAD undo button. And that's what I'm going to be doing here. Just take my starting points, lay those out here. Let me finish my undos. Get me back the way I want. All right, now I'm back to where I was. And that's the great thing about the Carlson software is that if you get in there and it looks like I messed some things up, which is fine, you can always get back to where you were. And so you can always make changes any way that you need to make changes in the software. And that's a good thing to show because in other software packages, if you make a mistake, trying to get back is very hard to get back to where you were. So with Carlson, we don't have that trouble. So let me do this. Let me go click here. Now, one of the things I want to do is I want to change this lot here. I don't like how this lot looks. So one of the things I'm going to do is use the remove lot edge. So I'll pick on it. I'll pick on that line, and it'll remove that lot edge. And you can see it update my information for me. Now, inside of this, it says 46,000 square feet. Now, there's multiple ways to come back and fix this, but I could just use a polyline. I'll do a snap nearest, let's say let's say I want some premium lots. So I'll pick there, and then I'll just go ahead and pick nearest again to my back of my lot, something like that. And I've added a lot in here. So for me to add a lot, I need to go up to the icon that says Add Lot Edge. I'll pick on it. It adds my lot edge in there. It also updated my curve information, my line length, all that information on my tables. Now, I don't like how this one is. Now, this one I'm going to modify a little bit different. Instead of getting rid of this line and just using a polyline going across, I'm going to show you another way. I'll use a command called Move Lot Edge Point. So I'll click on it to where the point, the line I want to move. I'll click close to the point. You can see it kind of rubber band there. And I'll just use AutoCAD Nearest Snap and I'll snap a point right there. Then I'll click down at the other end, click close to where the point I want to modify, and then I'll use another nearest snap. Let's go somewhere right, let's go right there. So there's my line, so when I hit the enter button, it updates it, and all my information is updated also. So there was two different ways that I showed you how you can modify. One was I got rid of that line, and I just put a polyline in it. The other one is I kept that line, and I stretched it anywhere I want to move it to. So if I want to move the lot edge again because I don't like how this looks, I can just pick on it, pick on this point, and go to nearest and have it snap right there, and the information is automatically updated. So with the if you ever have the actual developer in the room with you in the conference room or something, this is a good way to say, well, let's make the change. And you can make the change right there, and they can see it all updated right there on the screen. Okay? Well, let's go on down, and let me show you another tool in here. You can see how the lot is at 15,000 square feet. Well, let's say I want to change that to something else. So what I can use is something called a sliding side area. I'll pick on that icon. It asks me to pick inside the lot to adjust. And then it tells me to pick the lot edge to adjust. So I'm going to pick this right side. And I'm going to type in 16,000 square feet. And you can see it modified. It updates the information. The line length's updated. I've got 16,000 on the left, 14,000 on the right. Well, now let's say I want to hinge this point at the frontage road, at the front of the lot, and kick the back lot out and get this one back to 15 and make this one back to 15. So I'll use the command called hinged area, pick inside of it, pick the edge to adjust, and then type in 15,000 square feet. When I do that, it kicks out the back lot edge, and I've got them both set at 15,000. So that's how the road network works by using LotNet. Now, let me exit out of here, close it, and I'm going to show you a different way, just having just some areas there that you want to put in, maybe 17,000 square feet or 18,000. You can pick and choose, and I'm just going to switch over to my Sherman Oaks and show you how this works. Okay, my first thing in here is to go to my lot network settings. You should always go to that. Sherman Oaks, select what I did before. Now this time I'm going to turn off my label lines. I'm not going to label my lines and arcs, but I will label my areas. I will also draw in my setbacks like I did before, so I'll just go ahead and pick OK. And now I need to go to the next step, which is set boundary. So I pick on the set boundary and pick on it. That's set. But now I'm going to skip over the road network side. And if you notice, I've got my right-of-ways placed in here. So I'll go to my right-of-way icon, which is called Add Right-of-Way Polyline. So I pick on it, and I select there's 3 right-of-ways in here, so I'll select all 3. And those have been added. Now what I need to do is go right over here to the subdivide area. The subdivide area is what you use to put your information in for your lots. So for my outside lots, I'll pick inside. I'll say, you know what, I'll leave my lots on the outside at 15,000. I'll add to the lot to the last lot, so I'll just pick OK. And for my starting point, this is critical here because let's say I want to start here, and then my end of my lot will be here, which will be a larger lot. So I'll pick here. And it'll start laying in my 15,000 square foot lots, going around my cul-de-sac here. And I already see another lot here that I'd like to modify. There we go. So you can see this is a bigger lot here. It's at 24,000 square feet, and the rest of them are at 15,000. Okay. Now, I see one over here that I don't like this lot here. So let me just use my commands again, move lot edge, pick on it, pick on that point. And this time what I'm going to do is I'm just going to snap to the end point here, and then I'll pick here, and then I'm going to go ahead and snap to nearest. Well, let's go something like that. That looks good enough for me. and then it'll automatically update, and you can see what the square feet is for those two lots. And if you need to modify something, you can always come back and modify anything you want. Also, you know what? I really don't like how this lot is, so let me pick on it. Pick here, and let's snap to the end point at this lot. And you can see the differences that it did here. So if I need to flare this one out because this one isn't set to 15,000 square feet, how do I fix that problem? Well, I go right over here to sliding side area, pick inside of it, pick the edge to adjust, and type in 15,000 square feet, and it adjusted it back the way it was. So there's some modifications that you can make here. I could actually come back and tweak this again. And that's what's great about this. When you're setting with the actual developer, or if you're the designer that's designing this out, you can make changes any way that you need to, and it's very easy to make them. And if you notice, I'm using a lot of AutoCAD commands here to get these to get worked out. So you know what? I'm okay with that lot right there. So, but you can see how I was able to just to use my modify, move lot edge point, and be able to modify this lot until the way I get it, until the way I want it as the actual designer of this subdivision. Now, let's go over here. Let's say I've got a lot. I've got lots on either side, and I need to place a line in here for my back lot. So I'll just use a polyline, snap to nearest, and I'll just kind of freelance this in here, something like this. I'll go to nearest right here. And I've snapped to the nearest. So I've got that line in, and now I need to add that. And that is a add lot edge. So I come in here and I pick on my lot edge, and I add it. It gets my two areas for me. Now what I need to do is subdivide each area. So I go over to my subdivide area. And this time, what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep this one. I'm going to make this one 16,000 square feet. So I'll pick here, and it'll put in 16,000 square foot lots, and the last one will be bigger. And then on the other side, we're going to change that one to be 17,000 square feet. So you can see how easy that you can change and modify things very quickly. Like I got 16,000 on this side, I've got 17,000 on this side. Okay? Now on this area, I need to finish this out. And what I want to do here is I actually want to do a pond going through this. And there's different ways that you can draw out the pond information. I'm just going to go ahead and use my nearest command. Snap up here, snap, come down, and then I can start coming around what the pond's going to look like. And I could actually finish it going around, but I actually like to do half of it. And this is all your preference on how you want to do this. And then what I like to do is come back in and do my O-snaps. Just have that line come right back in. And then I'll finish it out. Let's say I want my pond something like that. Okay, so there's my pond, or this could be a greenscape area, or a nature preserve, or something like that. So I'll come over here to add lot edge, pick on it, and it adds both sides. Then I'll come in here and I'll subdivide this. And on this one, I'm going to bring this one back down to 15,000 square foot lots. Pick on it. Pick on the inside. It's going to start up at the top, and it lays in 15,000 square foot lots. It added the remainder here, and I see some modifications that I'd want to make to this. So let's go ahead and do the other side, and I'll go ahead and pick in it. And let's say on this side, I want to do 20,000 square foot lots. So I'll pick on it. It lays in 3 lots on this back side. Now, let's say I want to do away with a lot because I don't like how this looks here. What I can do is come in here and tell it to remove lot edge. So I pick on it, removes the lot edge. Okay, so that's now lot 26. And I see that the square feet is at, around 31,000. Well, let's say I want to make another modification where I can just click on it here. And I can say, you know what, let's have it look something like this. So we have our lots going around. And you could make more modifications to this as an actual designer who's designing this out. Now, some other tools, I don't think I've showed this before on some of the other webinars that I've done. In the lots here, we have different tools in the software that can update lot network labels. I can do a lot network report. So it gives me a nice report here telling me total area, lot area, my right-of-way area, number of lots. I've got 46 lots right now. So it gives me a nice area, and I can screen pick and put that on the CAD drawing, or I can print it out or save it to a text file. I also have my lot network inspector. So when I come in here and then when I move my mouse around, you can see up in the far left corner, it tells me I'm in lot 17, the area, square feet and acreage, the perimeter, and the frontage. So when I go to each one of these, it gives me the information. Okay? So I have that. And then I also have the renumber lots. I don't know how many times people have, you've done your lots, you've got your numbers in there, then you have to come back in and renumber them. Well, we have it in the software where I can pick here, and then it says starting lot name. Okay, so I'm going to say, you know what, I want to add 100 to these. So I'm going to say 118, and then it tells me pick point inside lot to start for the renumbering. So I pick there, and you can see how when I drag my mouse, there's a line that goes across. Now, if you look right now, this is 15, 16, 17, and 18. Okay? Let me drag it this way. Then I've got 19 and 20. So let's say I go this way, and it says next direction. So if I have another direction, you can see I can rubber band and keep going. I'm going to stop it right there and hit the enter button. And you can see how it renumbered them. I've got now 118, 119, and 120 here. And these are still 17, 118. See how I renumbered just that one area that I wanted to renumber? So you could come back and modify this as much as you want to here inside the software. There are a few other tools in here as far as add lot edge point. So if I want to add a lot edge point, I can do that. And what that allows you to do is, let's say in this example, I want to pick here. It says pick or enter point to add. So I'm going to pick a point right there. So I added a point right there at that location. Now I hit enter. That point's been added. So if I want to drag that point, so I'll use my move. So I'll pick on it. I'll pick close to that point, and I'll move it in. You can see it moved in there. Hit the enter key, and it updates my lot there. So you can add in a lot edge point, and you can remove a lot edge point, and then you can grip on it and move it in any direction that you want to. So that's one thing about the LotNet program. I've showed you two different ways. I've done lots of modifications here. I've showed you how you can have it go around a pond or a greenscape area. I've showed you that you can just use AutoCAD commands as far as nearest or endpoint. You could use midpoint to be able to move some line work around. Well, that's really what I had to show today on the LotNet program. I know most of them usually last 45 minutes or so. It looks like I'm done about 12:30 here. I'll take questions now. Lad, you still there?
Yes, sir. We had one that came in involving the moving the lot line with the pick. How do you create a radial line?
Like how would I keep a radial line? From the pick, if you're just picking it by using this command here, move lot edge, and I pick on it and I get ready to move it, I'm just using my AutoCAD commands here for point, endpoint, midpoint, that type stuff. So on that side of it, I can't do that. But if I was using a polyline and drawing a line in let's just do nearest. Let's see here. I should know this new command that we have here. Hey, Jim, you there? Or Lad, are you there?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Do you guys know where that radial... I believe there's a new command put into the software.
Well, if you draw in a polyline, you could actually draw it from, if you choose a perpendicular option and choose basically like your curved part of your line, you actually start from the arc using a perpendicular, and then what you need to do is draw the line through the back edge that you were looking for, and then trim it off.
What I could do is do a midpoint, something like that.
Or just actually there, you should be able to do a perpendicular, and you can then use the perpendicular option on that arc, so that as you move your cursor around,
there we go.
It should. But if you use a snap there, you'll lose that perpendicular nature, because I believe it's the back snap that's going to take precedence.
Oh, I shouldn't use this here?
I believe you'd use perpendicular and start from the arc.
That's what I'm doing here.
Okay, and then just draw it actually back through the back edge of that lot, and then trim it off using a trim command later on.
Okay.
Section point.
Yeah, I mean that definitely could be done. And that's where, guys, with this, it's a lot of CAD tools that you can use with this. Like right now, if I did what Lad said, draw that line in there, use the AutoCAD trim command, trim that back, and then if I come in here and just add this lot edge, it adds a lot edge in there. But you can see how much CAD drafting. We don't take you away from your CAD using your CAD tools. So you can still use whatever CAD tools you need to inside the software. Okay, go ahead and go to the next question.
The only other, looks like, question was, can you add a vertex to a line so that basically you have a...
You showed that already, Scott.
Yes, I've got that right there where I added a vertex, but I'll add another one right here. You can see in this where I can add a lot edge point. So I'm going to pick on it. I'll pick where I want to add that to right there, hit the enter button. And then once I've added it in, I can actually come in here and pick on the line, grip at that point, and you can see I moved it in. And when I hit the enter button, it updates that information. Now, I like using that for certain right-of-ways and stuff.
Okay, very good. And that was about the extent of the question so far.
Okay. All right. Now, guys, also what I showed you here, you can remove the lot edge that you can pick on it, pick at that point. You can see how that point goes back to the way it was. Hit the enter key, and it goes back to the way you actually remove the point out of there. So you can add the point, and you can remove the point, and then you can stretch that point, move that lot edge point wherever you want. Okay. Any other questions?
Not at this time, no.
Okay. All right. Well, that's pretty much all I had to cover then. Lad, you got any more comments?
No, other than, great presentation. It looks like there's a lot of powerful time-saving features in here, especially I got a lot of these lots to crank out in a short amount of time.
Okay. Yeah, and guys, here's what separates us from other software companies, is that I'm using a lot of CAD tools to be able to move and stretch and to be able to, I'm using basic CAD tools that we all know by using the actual grips here, as far as nearest, node, midpoint, all that stuff. So as a CAD person, this is a great tool, and if you had the actual developer in the room with you, if he's saying, you know what, I don't want these lots in here, I want to change these lots out, I want something different, it's very easy to come in and make the modifications that you need to. All right then, guys. Well, I'm going to finish up here. One thing I want to talk about here is, let me show you this here. If you have any, if you own the software and you need to call Carlson, you can use our tech support line. Also, if you have information that you may want to purchase it or anything, you can call one of our local resellers. We deal through resellers. You can go to our website and find them. You can also call us direct at 1-800. And you can see I've got both the websites as far as our website and also the Carlson reseller website. And I'm Scott Griffin. I am the National Sales Director for the Civil Division. So if you have any questions on stuff, I've got my email address right down there. You can email me, and I will respond back to you. Also, some other things I want to cover. This is for our SurfCAD people, as far as different maintenances and that type stuff to be able to upgrade. We do have that. We do have that capability. The pricing on the software. Right now, the civil software that I just showed, it's in the civil and survey, is $1,500. But we're running a special between now and the end of the year that's $19.95 that you get the civil suite. And what's included in the civil suite, and you can see the price here is $3,500 for the civil suite. We're running a special for $19.95. That includes the civil, the survey, the hydrology, and the GIS. So for $19.95 until the end of December, that's a great price. Also, if you're looking for training on the Carlson products of what I just showed you, we have a training division, and you can contact Harry Ward or Ryko Lewis on that at 1-800-989-5028, or you can email our training division, and they do custom training on site, and then we also do regional classes. Also, for I guess for you to know this, our trainers are all licensed professional engineers or licensed surveyors, depends on what they're training on. All right, was there any other questions that came up, Lad?
I don't see any, no.
Okay. Well, everyone, thank you so much. Lad, thank you. And everyone have a good day.
All right, thank you.